So let me begin from here. Last time we had stopped at Matsyagandha uh, and sage Parasher. It happened like this. In the Hastinapur, there lived a fisherman by name Dashraj. He had a daughter by name Matsyagandha. Matsyagandha was a very unhappy girl because of the fishy smell, the odor that came from her. And she had no friends. So one day, to a good fortune, Sage Parasher happened to come that way. She immediately got hold of the chance, grabbed the chance, and requested Sage Parasher. She said, Lord, I have a very fishy smell about me, because of which everybody shuns me and I have no friends. Please get rid of this smell from me. Sage Parasher said, yes, I can do that, provided you give me something that belongs to you. She said, I am a daughter of a very poor fisherman, and the only thing that belongs to me is myself. So I offer myself to you. Sage Parasher accepted her, and then when a fog developed as he accepted her. When the fog lifted, Sage Parasher told her, I have removed all your fishy smell from you. I have filled you up with Divyagandha, divine fragrance. Henceforth, you will be known as Satyavati. Now you go back to your father, carry on with your life. The son of yours, which is there, I will take him with me, and he has great deeds to perform in future. So I'll have to prepare him. However, whenever you need him, you just think of him, and he's there by you. With that, Sage Matsyagandha went to her father, and Sage Parasher took that little child, Matsyagandha's child, which was named Vyas, Krishna Vyas, and Dvaipayana. He took that child and went away to the forest. Now, the question which he had asked was, or rather, which he had said was, please give me something that belongs to you. Belongs to you is a very loaded question. What is it that, first of all, you must know what is you, and after you comes belong. Thank you. Yeah, this was necessary. So what is you? Now, the single most philosophical question in the entire, uh, not only in our philosophy, but in everyone, is what is you? Who is you? And this is a question that has been asked from centuries and from millennia, for thousands of years, and various sages have answered it in various ways. And there are whole books, and all our goal, everybody's goal, is to eventually realize who we really are. Now, when we say who are you, generally assume that I'm a doctor, I'm a scientist, I'm a engineer, or I'm a businessman, I'm anything. It can be teacher or whatever. Or if you don't like profession, then you can say I'm a Hindu or I'm a Muslim. Or if you are very fond of your physique, then you would say I'm a bodybuilder, or I'm a cricketer, sportsman. This is how you identify yourself. But this is not really you, because whatever was you, this kind of you will change. Today you are a businessman, a very successful businessman with millions of dollars in your bank balance and lots of stocks and shares. Tomorrow there's a market crash and suddenly you become pauper. Or if you're a king, you lose a battle and you're no longer king, you're gone. Similarly, it can be with anything. So this is not the real you. The real you is that which remains unchanging, that which is aware of everything. Now, I'm sorry, I'm being a little superficial, but like I said, this is the single most question which every one of us has to ask eventually: Who am I? When you ask that question, who am I? You'll have to delve deep into it. And whatever you say, I'm this, I'm that, I'm so and so, I'm so and so, all uh, that is not you, because you are the one who is asking the question, and whatever you see or whatever you answer, whatever the answer you get, is the object. You are the subject, the prime subject, and the prime subject is the ultimate consciousness. Ultimately, it is consciousness. Now, in when he in that question, what is it that belongs to you? Give me something that belongs to you. So belong. The next one is belong. I'm sorry, I'm not answered the question. Who are you? It will come like this. This can be taken as two entities. To begin with, there were two entities. One is the Purush and the other is the Prakriti. Purush is the one which is the power source, and Prakriti is the one which is the potential. Purush is the cosmic consciousness, and Prakriti is the cosmic energy. Both of them run parallel. Both of them are ever existing. However, Prakriti, though it has the potential, it cannot do anything by itself. Uh, Purush, on the other hand, it is only the power source. By itself, it does nothing. It's just a mute witness of everything. It is the one which that supplies the power. When Purush comes into contact with, when it interacts with Prakriti, then Prakriti takes a form, and that form grows around a tiny fragment of Purush. The tiny fragment within the Prakriti is the real you. This is what experiences everything. This is what, uh, and this is what ultimately all the search for each one of us will be, to identify ourselves with the you, to search out who is this you, cut out the all the fog that has enveloped us. And once that fog which enveloped us has over, then we'll be able to see ourselves as you. Now, remember, when the Prakriti takes a form, it can take any form. It can be a form of a human being. It can take a form of a horse, a dog, a cat, animal, any animal. It can take bird. It can take fishes. It can take trees. It can take shrubs. It can grass. It can be even water, river, mountains. It can be even sun and moon. The sun and moon also in that case, the sun, whatever you see is Prakriti actually. And what you cannot see, what is powering that sun, is the Purush. The same thing comes to us when we say, in our case, I am the body. Within that body is the Prakriti, and within that body is what we call a small fragment, which is the uh, consciousness. A small fragment uh, of Purush is the same in everyone. All of us, whatever form we have got, whether it's an animal form, human form, male form, female form, whatever it is, each one of us, every one of these trillions of forms has got the same constituent of the Purush. In a and this Prakriti is also the same. So, in a very real sense, what the sages have been telling, that we are all one. It is in fact all one. This is what we have to eventually come to realize. Now, how to realize that? That in the last meeting, I started with the little story of Shiva, where Shiva, when told that there is a lot of wars and wickedness in the earth, and the earth appeals to Lord Shiva to uh, get rid of this, he goes into deep meditation. And when he gets up from that meditation, he finds that all the earth has vanished, all the entire earth has vanished, and there are no more sins or wickedness. Now, this is what is going on within us. So when all the wickedness that is there within us, when it becomes too much, and how to get rid of it, we have to start meditating. The other way is to take the help of a sage. The sage is one who does not have any ego at all. Okay, I will come to that little later. Now, when this sage, he accepts her, he says, I've rid you of your Matsyagandha. I've ripped you out your fishy smell, and I've filled you up with divine odor. Now, the sage is one who has nothing other than these two things. One is the um, Purush and Prakriti. At this stage, I'll bring a third element. Now, the Purush is me, you, all of us, what we say, I or you. And Prakriti is what we observe, we see. Not only observe, see, we feel, we experience. Now, Prakriti does not belong to you because it is a separate identity. Secondly, when when death occurs, and Prakriti, or when death, how does death occur? Death occurs when Purush does not interact any further with Prakriti. At that time, what happens is the Purush separates. Nothing happens to Purush; it remains as it is. But Prakriti, the body, the form, starts degenerating, and very quickly it turns back into its original state of cosmic energy. At this stage, I'd like to bring a third element into this. The first one was, of course, Purush. The second was Prakriti. The third element is impressions. These impressions are formed in the mind. Now, the Prakriti has given us a form. That form has got senses, all kinds of five senses that the humans have got. Others may have four senses, some may have three senses, some may have only one sense. But whichever sense it is, it gathers the impression. These impressions are formed in our mind, and and the mind keeps on working upon them. And when these impressions are formed, then the mind feels, oh, this impression is pleasant, this impression is not so pleasant, this impression therefore is good, this impression is therefore is not good. Now, this kind of good and bad, it keeps on judgmental, it keeps on judging and deciding. And this is what eventually forms desires, and that translates into action, which action, the record of that action is called karma. It is a record in our memory, in the Akashic record, what to say. Also, this, these likes and dislikes which arise in our because of our impressions, they are the ones that give us our identity. These days, Amazon, Flipkart, and YouTube, etc., they're all able to identify us by these likes and dislikes. Now, these likes and dislikes are the ones which which really not only identify us, but they form karma. Now, these likes and dislikes are the one which remain with us. They are in our mind, and these likes and dislikes are very this is called the ego. This ego which is there, which is formed out of our life and dislikes. This ego which is there is an artificial identity which can be recognized by the computers at Flipkart or Amazon, etc. Also, very often we ourselves associate with these likes and our dislikes. Yes, I like this. So I like this. I don't like this. This is all our. We give ourselves identity. As I had mentioned in the earlier, in the beginning itself, that identity we give ourselves to not only our in very many ways. We give ourselves an identity through our profession, through our religion, through our caste, through our nationality, through our color, through our physical physique. I'm beautiful, I'm not beautiful, etc., etc. Or I'm a housewife, or I'm a doctor. Or these are all acquired identity or given identity. But a true identity is that which is the ultimate awareness or consciousness. That awareness is one which is aware of everything that is going on. That is a true identity. So when she says, give me something belongs to you, that you is that ultimate reality or the ultimate consciousness. And the belongs is only for the ego, not even the Prakriti, because Prakriti will degenerate, the form will degenerate and merge into the cosmic energy. Now, at death, what happens is that at death the Purush stops interacting with Prakriti, and Prakriti, therefore, the form which is there starts degenerating. But whereas the form degenerates, the Purush which is there, that does not generate, and so also the impressions which are there, with those impressions also they do generate. Those impressions which form the ego, they do not generate. So the ego survives death as we normally understand, and the ego as well as the Purush, the moment it reacts and next time again, both these quickly, immediately enter the form and start up from there. So it is merely a change of form, change of body, what they call rebirth. That is why everything that you have, your house, your property, this is not you because you have to leave behind. The only thing that you carry with you is your ego. That is the thing that really belongs to you. And this is what Sage Parasher had asked Matsyagandha, give me your ego. And Matsyagandha, who is the daughter of Dashraj, Dash stands for fish, it stands for boat also. Boatman is one who takes people across from one shore to the another shore. That is a guru. So that Dashrad was himself a guru. And Matsyagandha, the daughter of a guru, she knew precisely that what Sage Parasher had been asking is the ego. So she says, okay, take my ego. So that sage takes that ego and destroys it. Now, who is a sage? A sage is one who does not have ego at all, whose mind is absolutely still, so still that whatever ego was there has disappeared, and whatever new impressions are there, they do not form. Secondly, since the ego is absolutely still, the purush, which is the one which powers the prakriti and gets it to move, gets it to do whatever, is now free to do, get the prakriti to respond to its dictates. If you had the ego with you, ego is very loud. It supersedes the voice of the voice of the purush, and gets the prakriti to move as per its desire. This is the when the movement is through the ego, then it is desire. That is the Hastinapur of the mind, where the mind rules. On the other hand, when all the mind is completely stilled, then the ruling is by the heart, by the purush which is there in your heart. In your heart, you've got all. The heart is very soft. Its voice is the voice of consciousness is very subtle. You have to really be tuned to it. Your mind has to be tuned to it. Only then can you hear that voice. But when the ego is not there, then it is the mind which controls everything. And whatever the sage wants to do, he can do it because Purush is all powerful. It can do whatever. So the sage is able to remove the ego which is in somebody else's, uh, uh, what to say, uh, form. How does it do that? Because uh, all the Purush in every form, they are the same, they are identical, and they are all connected to each other. Those who are familiar with the modern science, especially quantum physics, they'll know the term entanglement. The Purush in every form is entangled. So from one form to another form, they are able to work upon it. That's how the Purush. That's how the sages destroy the what do you call, destroy the ego in somebody else. Now, coming further, we'll proceed with the story in the Mahabharata from here. Now, after Matsyagandha has come back to her father, and this sage Parasher goes away to the forest, Shantanu, who is there on the riverside, who lives by the riverside, he keeps walking along, still, missing Ganga. Till one day he catches scent. He is attracted by a divine scent coming from somewhere. He goes to investigate what is this divine scent, and then he finds that it emanates from that Satyavati. He is very attracted to her, captivated by her, and he goes to her and proposes to her. She only smiles and tells him that you have to take my father's permission. So he goes to her father Dashraj and says, and introduces himself. And they says, I will seek your daughter's hand in marriage. So Dashraj is very happy. He says, yes, I'm very happy indeed. And my daughter can certainly never get a better suitor. Only thing is, you will appreciate that as a father, I'm concerned with her future also. And therefore, I have a condition. So she says, what is your condition? Shantanu asks him, what is your condition? My condition is uh, that her son, my daughter's son, should be the king after you. Now, this was not acceptable to Shantanu. So he says, I'm sorry, I can't accept this condition, and he comes back very sad and morose. This was noticed by his son Devrat, and he starts wondering why his father is sad. So not till now he has never been sad or is in this condition. So he finds out, he goes to the charioteer and asks him where had you taken him. So the charioteer tells him he had gone to one Dashraj living by the riverside, And after that, from that time onwards, he's little sad. So this Devrat, his son, goes up to the Dashrad and asks Dashrad, what happened? What? So Dashrad gives him a brief of all that had transpired and tells him that your father wanted to marry my daughter, but I told him that there's a condition, and that condition was uh, uh, you, after you, my daughter's children should be the king, to which he did not agree. Then Devrat said, oh, is that all? I here and now take a vow that I forego all claims to the throne. So that should be enough. But Dasha said, no, that is good, but it's not enough because your children must take claim. So the so Devrat takes another vow. He says, I'm brahmachari. I vow that I will always remain a brahmachari. With that, his condition, these two vows, Dashraj was satisfied and he said, okay, now you can take Satyavati, my daughter.
Sounds a fantastic example of that. Um, some, people have very good health systems like Vietnam. We also believe now that the related coronavirus exposure.
Somebody's voice is there. I can't. That's interrupting me, disturbing me. Somebody is not mute. Please kindly mute him. So anyway, so this Shantanu uh, has gone back very unhappy. So Devrat, when he learned that, he takes these two vows, and then he brings back Satyavati from her father and takes her to the Rajguru to the palace. When the Rajguru learns of this two vows, he says he's very really upset. He tells Devrat that you have no authority to take such a vow because it will mean that the Satyavati's son, even if they are not very capable, they have to be made the king. But the tradition in our place is that only the best among the subjects can become the king. So your condition is not only unacceptable, you have no authority to take such a vow. Since he had already taken a vow, he says, all right, what I can do is that I take a vow that in future I will see whoever is the king, I will see uh, my father in the king, whoever it is, and I'll serve him as I would my father. Now, this condition, though it was not the same as being the king yourself, but since in those days the king ruled with the advice of the ministers, he said, okay, we will accept it. And with that, the way was cleared for Shantanu to get married to Satyavati. When Shantanu came to know about this thing, he said to his son, Devrat, that the vows that you have taken are terrible. Henceforth, you will be known as Bhishma of the terrible vows. Also, I grant you boon of death at will. Now, death at will is really misunderstood by. I'm stopping the story here and interpreting death at will. Before that, this fellow, Devrat, had said, I'm a brahmachari and I vow to remain a brahmachari. Now, by brahmachari, we normally mean celibacy. Now, brahmachari is a term which is used out of respect to the student, though it has a much deeper meaning. And the student is required to obtain self-restraint on so many so many aspects. Celibacy is just one of them. Nevertheless, celibacy is important. However, brahmachari is from two words, Brahma and Acharya. Brahma is that ultimate truth, ultimate, ultimate, ultimate truth, the consciousness, truth, consciousness, and bliss. And Acharya means a professor, a learned man, the one who is a learned man of the truth, one who knows the truth. So his vow that I am a brahmachari and I'll remain a brahmachari means that I know the truth and I always will remain a truth. But when he takes the second vow, the commitment to the king, he has really virtually cancelled his first vow. He's gone against his first vow. And because in his second vow, he says, I'll remain committed to the king, not to the truth, not even to Hastinapur. I'll not be committed to truth. I'll be committed only to the king. So this is why he's deluded. Anyway, so when he says death at will, his second vow, the boon which Shantanu had given to his son was, I grant you the boon of death at will. Now, what is this death at will? Generally, it is assumed, Ichha Mrityu, what they call in Hindi, that you can die whenever you want. Now, that is no big deal really, because if you want to die now, you can just take a knife and slit your throat, you'll die. If you want to die tomorrow, you can do that tomorrow. Whenever you want to die, nobody can stop you from committing suicide. So death at will is not what he is referring to. What we must appreciate is that Shantanu did not tell him you will live forever, or even you can live as long as you want. This is not the boon he has given. He has said that you can die whenever you want. Now, what does this death mean? For that, we have to understand death. We had covered this little bit earlier also. The death occurs when Purush stops interacting with Prakriti. When the Purush stops interacting with Prakriti, then the Prakriti immediately starts disintegrating. But nothing happens to Purush and nothing happens to the ego which is there. The ego and the Purush, they both uh, move out, or rather transmigrate into another soul. So what Shantanu meant was that the ego within you, that you will be able to destroy without anybody's assistance, and the moment you want. If you want to destroy the ego which is there within you, you can do it within a moment. And that is eventually what our whole aim is, because if you don't do that, you'll keep on taking birth after rebirth after rebirth. It'll keep going on. So that is what all our goal of the life is, to release ourselves from the bondage which is imposed by the ego, by which we keep on taking birth after rebirth. So his boon was not that you can die whenever you like, as is generally made out in all these films, etc. Even in the serial, it is given that, right, those of you who know the little story a little more, you'll see that he keeps on lying on his bed, awaiting death. That is not what it is. You can kill yourself. You could have killed himself anytime. For that boon, you don't require. But what is meant here is that you will be able to uh, get rid of your ego as soon as you want it. And if you don't, that unfortunately, uh, this Devrat or Bhishma, he did not utilize that boon. Anyway, once now we'll come back to the story again. Once this boon was granted, Shantanu was free to marry Satyavati. So he gets married to her, and in course of time, Satyavati bore him two children. One was Chitrangan, the other was Vichitravir. Shantanu and their family, they continued to live a normal life. The kingdom was very happy, everything was peaceful, and it continued for several years until one day Shantanu died. When Shantanu died, then Satyavati told Devrat that please go and please install the elder of my two sons as the king. So Devrat, or rather Bhishma now, who acted as the regent, he immediately got the Rajguru to crown Chitrangan as the king. Chitrangan ruled for a couple of years, but in one day, when he was out hunting, he was killed. After his death, Satyavati asked Bhishma to crown the younger son, Vichitravir, as the king. Vichitravir was then crowned the king. Time passed, and in a few years' time, it was time to get Vichitravir married. It was time for him to get married. So Satyavati, who is now the queen mother, told Bhishma that I understand the king of Kashi has marriageable age daughters, and that he is trying to look out for grooms for them. He may even be holding their swimwear for them. So please go to the king of Kashi, discuss with him, and get fix up for some marriage with your for your brother. Bhishma went to Kashi. He rode to Kashi, and he found that the Swayamvar was going to take place. Without bothering about anything about the king or meeting the king, he just marched up to the three princesses and just carried them to the chariot, put them on the chariot, and started riding back. His prowess, his powers were very well known to all the people, all the kings who had assembled there. So nobody really uh, challenged him. There was one, however, one of the kings, Shalvaraj, he got up and chased Bhishma. When he caught up with Bhishma, and he said, I wish to challenge you. You can't take away the princess like this. So Bhishma told him that, look, you do not know my power. I can very easily destroy you the moment I want. So please go away. Don't get in trouble by challenging me. He said, no, it is a question of honor. I have to challenge you. I cannot let you go like this. So they both had a fight, and very quickly Bhishma overpowered him and was about to kill him when one of the eldest of the three princes, whose name was Amba, she pleaded with him and told him to please spare him. So Bhishma said, all right, since you're pleading for him, I spare him and let him go there. This Shalvaraj then went to his kingdom and Shal and went to his kingdom and stayed there. And Bhishma, along with the three princes, he came back to Hastinapur, where he presented them to the queen and said, these three princes, Ambika, and Ambalika, they are they may be considered for marriage with Vichitri. So the Satyavati told them that you have to get married to to the king. When this proposal was put up to this command was put up to the three princesses, the two younger ones, they agreed. Ambika and Ambalika agreed, but Amba said, no, I can't agree to get married to this. I am in love with Shalraj, and that's where, and he's the person I would have put the nuptial garland around his neck had Bhishma not kidnapped me from there. And I don't want to get married to him. Now, those days, the tradition was that it was the woman who would decide who would be her husband. Even if she was kidnapped only shows meant that the kidnapper had the power to make the woman whom he had kidnapped happy. But the right to rejection, even then, rested with that woman. So when this Amba said that I don't want to get married to Vichitri, he could not force it. So he said, all right, you can go back to Shalvaraj. He provided her with a chariot. And with that chariot, she went to Shalvaraj. On when she Shalvaraj, when he saw the Amba coming, and when she told him that he has come to marry her, to marry him, he said, look, you have seen that in a very fair fight, he has defeated me. Since he has defeated me, I cannot accept you. It is against my honor. I can't accept charity from anybody else. And by right, you are his now. You have to. He has to do whatever he wants with you. I can't come in between you and Bhishma. She goes back to Bhishma and tells him, complains to him that you have caused this problem to me, because of which my the person with whom I was in love has refused to marry me. Now you have to look after me. So he says, all right. He tells Vichitravir, his stepbrother who was the king, that you get married to Amba. Vichitravir says, no, I can't, I'm not interested in getting married to one who has given her heart to somebody else. So you get her married to somebody else, whoever she wants. Amba then confronts Bhishma and tells him that, look, you are the cause of all my problems, so you have to get married to me. You have to marry me. Bhishma says, sorry, I've taken a vow of celibacy, of brahmacharya, and I'm going to remain a brahmachari. I can't marry you. So she says, no, but you are the one who has caused this problem. He says, I can apologize for that, but I can't do anything about it. So she gets very angry and she goes out and looks out for Bhishma's guru. Bhishma's guru was Lord Parshuram. So she goes to Lord Parshuram and tells him that Bhishma has brought about this problem and is the cause of all the suffering and unhappiness. Please do something about it. So Lord Parshuram listens to her and says, agrees with her. He says, yes, he shouldn't have done that. First of all, he should not have kidnapped. And having kidnapped, he has to ensure that you are taken care of. He says, yes, if see a woman rejected, a woman scorned, is a pariah in any society. She has no place. So please do something for me. So he says, okay, I'll call Bhishma, and as his guru, I'll command him to get married to you. So he sends for Bhishma. Bhishma comes over as commanded, as per the desire of his guru, and asks him, yes, you wanted me, what is it? Then then Parshuram tries to explain to him that, look, you have to take care of this princess because you have kidnapped her. He's your, so to say, not property, but he's your responsibility now. If you're not kidnapped him, it would be somebody else's responsibility. But you've kidnapped her and brought her. It is now your responsibility to take care of her. He says, but I can't marry her. I've committed a vow of brahmacharya, and therefore I can't marry her. He says, but you're responsible for this condition. You have to break your vow. He says, I can't do that. Now, this is the height of ego, is arguing with his guru. The guru, Lord Parshuram, said that if you don't agree to this, you'll have to fight with me. And otherwise, there's no other way. So he says, yes, okay, in that case, we'll fight. So both of them start fighting. Now, Parshuram had trained Bhishma exceedingly well and made him equal to himself in all respects. So they kept on fighting and they fought for several days. When 12 days were over, neither of them seemed to getting the upper hand, and neither of them were really seriously wounded. But there's a lot of collateral damage. Trees, the earth had been raised in a wide place, and everybody was scared. All the gods started wondering and praying. They went to Lord Brahma and said that, Lord, you have to take charge now and stop this war between the two people, this fight which is going on between two people, because it will damage the entire earth. Already so much collateral damage has happened. So Brahma goes to these two people who are fighting and asks them to hold on. And then he speaks to Bhishma because Bhishma is the disciple. Bhishma again reiterates his uh, stand. He says, I've taken a vow of brahmacharya and I can't break that vow. And I'm sorry, if Parshuram doesn't, if he wants to fight with me, I'll fight with him, but I cannot take back my vow. Then Lord Brahma, he appeals to Lord Parshuram. Parshuram, he did not have ego like this Bhishma had. So when he told him that you have to stop fighting, he said, oh, all right. Even though it means that I'm not able to keep my word, which I'd given to Amba, still in the larger interest, I will suffer that loss of faith and bear that loss of faith, but I'll stop fighting. So with that, they stopped. The fight was called off. But it meant that Amba, there's no solution for Amba was there. Even his guru could not solve a problem. So she tells him that, look, you are responsible for my condition. And I swear, even though if I have to take rebirth, I'll come back and settle my score with you. I'll take my revenge. With that, she immolates herself. And in course of time, Amba is born again as Shikhandi, as the daughter of Prince Drupad.